Hey guys, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today is Christmas Day, so Merry Christmas to each and every one of you who do follow Christmas, and if you don't, well, I've still got something truly magical for you here today. Now, I always feel a little bit of pressure around this time of year to get you guys a really cool video on Christmas Day. A couple of years ago it was a Hetzer 1 vs 10, then I did a slightly humorous video on the Toldi, and I thought, why not try and feature it just like Christmas, which only happens once a year, on something that Wargaming do once a year, and that is give everybody a low tier premium tank. This year Wargaming gave us the Swedish L60, which is special, I guess, because it's quite fast. It also has a nice little autoloader against lightly armored tanks like the L60. And I guess also it's Swedish as well, that makes it quite novel for a lot of players. But this release is very important around this time of the year for low tier matchmaking, because obviously if the tank is amazing, then you probably don't want to be playing too many low tier tanks. But if the vehicle has some weaknesses, and as with most autoloaders at low tier it's the penetration, with only 27mm of standard penetration on the L60, then people bring out their little monsters at low tier. And our hero today, or anti-hero, that's up for you to decide, is Valera, who plays on the RU server. And Valera is playing in the H35 Hotchkiss, a tier 2 French light tank. Although, really, it's only a light tank through designation, because this vehicle actually has 40mm of all-round protection at the front, at the back, at the side, on the turret. And so what do you think happens when pretty much, how many L60s on the enemy team? 13 L60s on the enemy team. And one H35 and one R35 meets a vehicle that has more armor than they have penetration, even on their premium rounds. Even the premium rounds on the L60 have got 38mm of penetration, sorry. And so Valera, even though I bet you they know that there are two L60s behind them that were shooting at them, completely ignores them and goes after the H35. Now, Valera is using a 25mm main armament on this tank, which I had no idea about until I checked it out. And I found that you sacrifice a lot of gun depression to be able to use the 25mm on this vehicle, but you gain a whopping amount of penetration. The penetration on this gun with the standard rounds is 46, and with the premium rounds is 68. And you can see that Valera is already digging into those premium rounds, knowing just how well armored the H35 on the enemy team is. Just look at those L60s to the left of Valera and completely ignoring them, and for good reason too, as we're going to see in a second. Now, Valera's team is not doing too well. They're just dying all over the map, and the onslaught begins with the L60 shooting at Valera in the side. And when Valera's tracks go off, they aren't going to be going on very much for the rest of this replay. Another vehicle goes down. Now all there is left is a T-Key in the other corner of the map fighting an L60. And then, after the T-Key dies, Valera is going to be in a 1 versus 14 situation. Now, Valera is almost completely ignoring the L60s. Even though Valera is auto-aiming at this L60, they're trying to keep tabs on where the H35 is on the enemy team. So the L60 on the enemy team finally kills the T-Key, begin a 1 versus 14. First blood, that vehicle down, Valera aims at the next L60, and just look at the amount of damage that is hitting Valera's tank right now. The L60 probably frustrated, unable to penetrate him. They start to try and ram Valera. Valera, ignoring the ramming L60s, focuses fire up on the H35. Finally manages to go through the lower plate, setting the H35 on fire, which is very fortunate because Valera ran out of APCR rounds and might not have been able to pen with the AP rounds. Just look at this situation. How ridiculous is this? I have never seen anything like this in a World of Tanks. This is the kind of thing that can only happen once a year. Literally 10 vehicles surrounding Valera, all shooting and unable to penetrate. Look at what the bounce counter is up to now. 5,000 damage bounced in a tier 2 tank. That is enough to kill Valera 40 times over. Absolutely preposterous. 6 kills. Now aiming for, that doesn't look like an L60. Is that the final remaining R35? And we can see Valera is trying to ignore all of the L60s on the enemy team to focus on the R35. Actually, now ignores the R35 to focus on the L60, takes that one down. I guess because Valera might know about one of the weaknesses of this vehicle. And that is the front, I guess it's a driver's hatch or some kind of hatch on the front of the vehicle here. If you're wondering why you can't penetrate this tank, don't shoot it in the side, don't shoot it in the rear. Just look at this, it's like they got so bored of trying to penetrate it that they're just trying to ram Valera to death. What you should do is you should shoot this hatch here on the front of the vehicle. This hatch has only got 30 millimeters of armor. But even knowing that weak point, the L60s on the enemy team would pretty much have to be firing APCR rounds to be able to contest Valera's armor. They're killing themselves on Valera by ramming them. And that's because the H-35 Hotchkiss actually weighs 9 tons and has 40 millimeters of side armor, while the L60 weighs 7 tons and only has, I believe, about 13 millimeters of frontal armor, and so the ramming is not going to work out very well. So finally Valera stops auto-aiming, aiming at the L60s on the enemy team. Do you know what they should have done? This is so... Oh, I can't deal with it. They should have probably tried to keep Valera tracked here and then snuck around in the corner. Why has none of them done that? Valera has been tracked for pretty much the last 5 minutes of this game. Locked in place through a combination of just auto-aiming at the tracks and ram damage. And now, having killed 13 tanks in a row in a 1 versus 14 engagement, there is only one L60 left. Finally, the tracks are back up. The L60 starts to panic. There's one. No, missed the second. Come on, finish it off. There we go. 1 versus 14. What a ridiculous victory this was. Just take a look at this graveyard of tier 2 Swedish light tanks all surrounding this tier 2 French raid boss. This is just like an MMO. I have never seen anything like this in World of Tanks. Let's just take a very quick look at the post-game stats. So Valera nails an ace in the Hotchkiss, picks up the Kolobanov's medal, the one that everyone wants for standing alone against at least 5 opponents, in this case 14, as well as the rarest medal in World of Tanks, the Rezene Heroes medal for killing 14 of the enemy team, a high caliber for the 1,523 damage dealt, and a steel wall medal at tier 2, and this is just preposterous. 9,128 damage blocked, receiving 736 shots this game. And of those, only 1 of them penetrated. What a game. And Valera, Sorushtisvom, spasibo большое for uploading this on the WOT Replays website for us all to have a good giggle with you. And hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like. It really helps the channel out. And I'd just like to take a moment to thank, from the bottom of my heart, everybody who tuned in to the charity marathon on Thursday. Together we raised £22,687.70 for cancer research and special effect, which is nearly $28,000. The event was the highlight of the year for me. Thank you all so much. You truly make me the proudest content producer to have an unbelievable community. Thank you so much. And if you haven't already, I thoroughly recommend you check out the 2 charities that we raised that money for. Special Effect, who help those with disabilities to still be able to play video games, and Cancer Research, who are helping to fund the fight against an indiscriminate killer that is just a blight on humanity. So a massive thank you to each and every one of you for not only enriching my life, but helping change the lives of others. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.